is it permissible to be a student of a non-Muslim as far as worldly knowledge is concerned? Knowledge can broadly be classified into two categories. The first is the worldly knowledge, and the second is the knowledge of the deen, the knowledge of our religion of Islam. As far as worldly knowledge is concerned, it is permissible to study worldly knowledge under a non-Muslim or to have a non-Muslim teacher as far as acquiring worldly knowledge is concerned. But you should see to it that whatever the teacher teaches or whatever the non-Muslim teaches, it does not go against the basic teachings of Islam. It does not go against the glorious Quran and the authentic teachings of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. You should see to it that this point is considered. That what the non-Muslim teaches, it doesn't go against the basic teachings of Islam. And also, whenever you're acquiring knowledge from someone, you should see to that that person, he is knowledgeable as far as that field is concerned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, in Surah Al-Nahl chapter number 16 verse number 43 and Surah Al-Anbiya chapter number 21 verse number 7, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, that if you do not know, ask the person who knows. And especially, we find that it is common that most of the children, they go to convent schools. Some go to convent schools, some go to Christian schools. The parents should see to it that they admit their children into Islamic schools. And when a child, for example, if he's in the first grade, second grade, even if he's studying worldly knowledge from a non-Muslim teacher, for example, English, for example, science, for example, maths, or any other subject, the worldly knowledge, there are chances that in these convent schools he may learn certain things which may go against the teachings of Islam. For example, we find that in the convent schools, when a child, he goes to any convent school, for example in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, etc., even if the teacher is teaching him English, yet the teacher may make certain statements, for example, oh Jesus, or when he goes in the morning to the school, they may have a particular kind of prayer in which they call Jesus as God, or they call upon Jesus. And we find that this is very common in the convent schools, and we find this in India as well. In the convent school, this is very common. So the parents should take utmost precaution that when they admit their children, they should see to it that they admit their children into Islamic schools. And especially when the child, he is young. For example, he is in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 or grade 4. It is very important that he studies even worldly knowledge from a Muslim teacher. Because a child who is small, he may not be able to decipher what is allowed, what is not allowed in Islam. And the teacher may say certain things which may go against the basic teachings of Islam, and the student will accept it. Because when a student is small, he may not know the basic teachings of Islam. He may not know everything what is halal. He may not know everything what is haram. So the parents play a key role here, that they should see to it that they admit their children into Islamic schools. And even if the child is learning education, worldly knowledge from a non-Muslim teacher, especially if the child is in primary school, so it should be taken care that the child does not learn even worldly education from a non-Muslim teacher, because it could have effects on his deen. But generally, acquiring worldly knowledge from a non-Muslim, it is permissible as long as it does not go against the teachings of the glorious Quran and against the teachings of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. As you go higher, in the initial stages when you are in grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, there are high chances that the teacher may say something and the student may accept it and may not be able to decipher what is right and what is wrong as far as the deen is concerned. But when you go higher, for example, grade 10, for example in grade 10, or for example you're studying bachelor's, you're studying master's, in this situation, if the teacher is a non-Muslim and if he's teaching worldly knowledge, and if you have the basic knowledge of Islam, what is halal, what is haram, then inshallah you will be able to decipher what is right and what is wrong, and you can only accept that what the teacher says is correct. And if the teacher is telling anything against the teachings of the glorious Quran or authentic hadith, you should avoid studying under such a teacher. The second type of knowledge is the knowledge of the deen. As far as knowledge of the deen is concerned, the knowledge of the religion of Islam, of our religion, of our deen, we should only acquire it from Muslims. As far as the knowledge of deen is concerned, we should not acquire it from non-Muslims. We should avoid keeping non-Muslim teachers as far as learning about our deen is concerned. As far as the Islamic education is concerned, this is very important. And we should go to a person who is an expert or a specialist in that particular field if we want to acquire knowledge in a particular field. For example, if you want to acquire knowledge or if you want to learn about fiqh, so you will go to a faqih. You will go to a teacher or to a scholar who's an expert in the field of fiqh. If you want to know or learn something about tafsir, you will go to a mufassir. So the knowledge of the deen, it should only be acquired from a Muslim. And we find this that it is common, especially in the Western countries, that many of the students, those who are doing PhD in any Islamic field, for example in tafsir or in hadith or in any other Islamic field, their guide or their mushrif is a non-Muslim, and they think that it is very okay. A non-Muslim who does not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who does not believe in the teachings of Islam, how can he teach you about Islam? How can he teach you something which he does not believe in? I'm not saying that it is haram to study PhD or to have a guide, a non-Muslim guide. But why to have a non-Muslim guide when he is not believing in Islam, when he does not believe in the teachings of Islam? Therefore, you should try your level best, even if you're studying PhD. Many people say that he's just a guide, he's just showing us the way how to write a thesis, etc. But yet in this situation, you never know. He may say certain things against Islam or against the teachings of Islam, and you may get influenced. So therefore, even in this situation, you should try your level best that you take a Muslim guide. And as far as the worldly knowledge is concerned, if you have an option of acquiring the worldly knowledge from a Muslim or from a non-Muslim, and both of them, they are equally qualified, so in this situation you should prefer a Muslim over a non-Muslim. Because when you are studying with a Muslim, generally you do not have to be on your guard always, and you do not have to take excessive precaution. But when you are studying with a non-Muslim, or if a non-Muslim is your teacher, you have to take excessive precaution that you do not acquire or learn anything from him that is against the teachings of Islam. So I hope that answers your question.